This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.
I was in Taiwan, actually, and I was young. I was in my 20s, and I was teaching English, and I did have a pad, but it wasn't working very well. And so I was crossing the street, and there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people, hot, humid, the whole thing, and and it fell out.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast, where we talk all things poop, toilets, and sanitation. Through insightful news, impact stories, and quirky humour, we aim to discuss and highlight the critical role toilets play in whisking poop out of our lives, the impact toilets have, or lack thereof, in the health and wellness of humanity, and what ZuLoo is doing to help solve the current global sanitation crisis.
Hello and welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast. We are so excited to be here today, and we have some very special guests today. These lovely young women that have taken time out of their busy lives as young adolescents in college. They're here to share with us some of their experiences that they had in Africa recently. So we're going to go ahead and just let them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves and some of your experiences.
Okay. I'm Milli.
And I'm Brynn.
And we grew up together in Bountiful. We went to all school together, but now we're off on our own ways. I'm down in St. George at Utah Tech University.
And I am up in Logan at Utah State.
Excellent.
Yeah. So me and Milli originally were not supposed to go on this trip to Ghana that we're talking about today. In fact, when I heard that I was going to Ghana, I was not excited or pleased at all. I wanted nothing to do with Ghana. And Milli was originally supposed to be going on a different humanitarian trip. And right before we left, my mom talked to Milli, and she was on a plane with us to Africa.
That's great. So where were you originally both to go? Where were you supposed to go?
So originally I was supposed to be going to Peru with two of my really close friends, but my mom just didn't really want me to go.
Okay.
And I was supposed to be going to Fiji, but with the COVID situation, Fiji remained closed. So we weren't able to go.
So just to kind of get into that, I have a few little questions here about Ghana. And I'm just going to quiz you guys and see what you know.
Okay.
And if you don't know, that's okay. But it's just kind of a fun thing to kind of break into this conversation today. So, okay, this is true or false. Okay, ready for this?
Okay.
I have a feeling you guys might know this. Okay. Can you flush toilet paper in Ghana? True or false?
False. But where me and Milli were, we couldn't.
Okay. That's probably a pretty typical situation. So the answer is true, but not recommended by locals.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I was recently in Nigeria, that's kind of the thing that we kind of picked up. And also in Mexico, local people are like, no, don't do it. And I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? So anyway, that's interesting. All right. So another one here. What percentage of Ghanaians have access to toilets? What's your estimation? Not have, but have access to.
I'll say, looking on the bright side, 75%.
Okay.
Yeah, I would probably somewhere around there, but I don't know. Even that could be a little much. Not a lot based on what I saw.
Okay. Okay. The actual answer is 84%.
Wow.
So it's actually higher.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
That is actually really great news. I was surprised myself that it was that high.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So what percentage of those have access to flushed toilets? I mean, we're all about toilets here. So
right.
Obviously
We love toilets. I love them.
So flushed toilets.
50% of that 84%.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. 50%.
All right. The correct answer is 33%.
Okay.
But not bad.
No, not
bad.
Okay. Okay, the symbol of the flag. What does the Ghana flag symbolize? Do you guys know what it means? You remember what it looks like? It's got a red stripe, yellow, green, and then it has like a star in the middle.
Yeah. Actually, weirdly enough, while I was in Ghana the second time, I had to like teach a lesson about what the Ghana flag means. But
okay.
I think yellow, all I remember is like gold or like mining or minerals.
Mm-hmm.
And red, isn't it like war, like the people that passed away defending it? And green, probably something with like nature.
Yeah, you're good.
And then the star, is it like Lone State, kind of like Texas thing? Like,
yeah, it actually symbolizes African freedom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is correct. Good job. Wow.
Way to go.
Red represents the blood of those who died in the country's struggle for independence.
Yeah.
Gold represents the mineral wealth of the country. Green symbolizes the country's rich forests, and the black symbol stands for the African freedom.
Yeah.
So, excellent. All right. Well, you guys did pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job with the flag one.
I know. That was like a shot in the dark.
Excellent. So, so now why don't you go ahead and just share with us like what happened when you were there, what you did, what your impressions were. I see that both of you have some journals and pictures and stuff to share, which is great. So, Brynn, do you want to go ahead and okay.
Our first stop was to an art market where as soon as we got there, we're getting called, the Brynny bus is here, and they're selling us stuff, and you feel like you're a pop star. Like,
oh, wow, okay.
You get out of the car and they're surrounding you. It was awesome. That's first impression. And then we get to the home, GMAD, and the kids are so eager to meet you. They're like running and screaming, and I stepped off the bus and someone named Abdullah came and grabbed my hand and took me to like this wall where he like jumped up and like pointed out his the picture of me that they had like posted on like their little bulletin board. So like they're just so excited to like meet you, and I love you.
Awesome. So now what was the name of the organization?
So we went with Gonna Make a Difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I looked up on the website a little bit, and it is a nonprofit. And from what the little bit that I read, it was like they're really helping shelter like people that are displaced because of just circumstances, and also some of them have been trafficked.
Yes.
Right?
So actually we learned that most of the kids there have been saved from boats and boat masters.
Okay.
The boat masters will go around to villages and tell parents that they can give their kids a skill, an education, and something to get them to the U.S. And so the parents, of course, wanting like the best for their kids, send them away. And the parents have no idea that the kids are not given an education. They're basically slaves to the boat masters. They don't get food sometimes, and they're just expected to fish. So Gonna Make a Difference actually works with like the Ghanaian government, and they go in and help save those kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've heard of that happening, but like to know, like you said, you can read about it in a book, you can see a video, you can like watch a documentary, but when you're there, it's like, wow, it just hits you and you're changed forever.
Yeah.
Right? Forever. And, this is the thing is like your heart goes out to these people and especially to the parents because they're just wanting so much for their children to have a better existence.
Right.
And it's just a lie.
Yeah.
It's just totally a lie. And they're taken and they're abused. And like you said, and so it's just like, wow.
Sorry. It's actually really cool because Gonna Make a Difference. They do like try and get in contact with like a certain, like some family member if they can, like a grandma, an aunt, a mom. So most of the kids, like they do have families to go back to, but they mostly stay there until they're like 18 or so.
So the reason for our trip, of course, we go and you stay at the home, and at the home we got to help like teach school to the kids a little bit. But then our trip was a medical mission, so lots of doctors and nurses go and perform surgeries at a hospital, and we also had an eye clinic where some eye doctors came and helped get people glasses and things like that. So that was the main purpose of our trip. And I got my CNA in high school. So I was able to go to the hospital in Ghana and watch them do these surgeries. Which, right, you couldn't do that here. You couldn't just walk in and watch someone have a C-section. Like, that's not a thing here.
No.
But I was able to do that. And that was just so cool to be able to see all these like people, doctors come together and just perform these things for these people who don't have access to medical care like that.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. It sounds like you guys just had like a whole myriad of experiences,
We
right?
did. Like 2 weeks felt like a year and a half, honestly.
Right. Great. Okay. So did you have some pictures or some different things that you wanted to
Yeah.
to share? Okay.
One thing, Brynn kind of talked about this when we first got to Ghana. Our first stop was an art market. And right when we pulled up, there was a fence or there was like a wall. Let's see if I can find it. And it said, "Do not urinate here" on the wall, which was like, that was kind of a shock. You don't, like,
Right.
you don't see that here.
Right.
And so that was kind of interesting to see that, these people, they don't have access to toilets. They can't just like go use the bathroom.
Right.
And so it's a problem that there. So
Yeah. So maybe just a little bit more. Are you considering to go into the medical field? Is that one of the?
I was at that point in my life, I was going to go into the medical field. I've kind of switched gears now, but yeah, that was one thing that really got me on the trip was just like the experience of seeing what medical care like is outside of the United States.
And so what are the two of you thinking about going, doing with your lives going forward? Do you have aspirations, or maybe that's a loaded question, or you don't know?
No, yeah. So right now, like I said, I go to Utah State and I'm majoring in kinesiology. However, that is a very hard major to be majoring in. So I'm switching to social work to become an occupational therapist that works with people that have like disabilities, just to like help them learn and thrive to be on their own.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah. And
so career-wise, I'm studying graphic design, but after my trip to Ghana, I actually went on 2 more humanitarian trips. I went to Hawaii and then Thailand this past summer.
Oh, wow.
Just because, my experience in Ghana was so cool and I learned so much. And so that's definitely something I see myself doing in the future, doing more humanitarian trips and just going to see new places and experience new cultures. And
yeah.
Well, I know this great organization called ZuLoo.
There you go.
That we'd love for you guys to be involved.
Of course.
What's like one of your biggest takeaways that you guys had from your experience in Africa?
So I'm just looking over my journal right here. And so our first day there, it was a Sunday. So we were sitting, listening to someone give a talk and a prayer. And during the prayer, one of the girls, Precious, she prayed for those who were like poor and alone. And I opened my eyes. I was kind of in shock because I'm looking around and I'm like, these kids are not living with their families. They're getting taken away. They don't have much. So it's like, they are like poor and alone. But like, as I was there for longer and longer, I realized that they are not poor and alone. They are rich. They love each other. They love everything. They're so happy with so little. And so for me, one of the biggest takeaways was like just being grateful for everything that I have and to never like compare myself, just to be a loving, kind person like the Ghanaians are. Everyone.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's so amazing, that takeaway. And to have that perspective that they are thinking like, oh, I'm going to pray for people that are poor and alone.
Yeah. Again, like going into it, you're thinking that you're going to help them, but leaving, they helped me more than I'll ever know.
Exactly. That's so much how it is. So it's such a beautiful experience. Thank you. That's great. Yeah. And Milli?
My biggest takeaway, kind of go off the last thing Brynn said about, I learned so much more from them than I think they could have learned from me. On our last day before we left the children's home we were staying at, one of the doctors shared the story about a girl who was on the beach throwing starfish back into the water because there were all these starfish in the sand. And someone came up to her and was like, why are you throwing starfish in? Like, there's so many, you can't make a difference. She says, well, I can make a difference to this one. And she throws another starfish in. And I think going into this trip, you think, I'm going to be the one throwing starfish. Like, I'm going to be helping these people. I'm going to get them back in the water. But then the doctor who shared that story, he was like, I think we were the starfish and they threw us back in. And they taught me so much about myself and taught me about gratitude and humility. And I think that was my biggest takeaway, is that, they helped me so much more than I did for them.
Yeah. Excellent. That's a familiar story, the starfish, but I love that twist on it where it's like, the opposite.
Yeah.
So, that's excellent.
So like Milli said, it was a medical mission with eye doctors. And I actually got the opportunity to work in the eye clinic for like the last part of the trip. And we would be in this eye clinic for hours, just like taking numbers, and people from all villages, like word gets around. They don't tell anyone, but word spreads. So people are waking up at like 6 a.m. to get on a tro just to get to GMAD, to sit and wait in the hot sun with no food, not a lot of water. And they are like just the happiest people. I remember I had to make an announcement that we couldn't see any more people today. There was not one like sigh, one rude comment or anything. It was, okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow. So they go all the way back home, go to sleep, wake up again, drive so far just to sit in the hot, just for some help. And that's another thing that was taught to me. Like, I should just be grateful that I can do so much at my own free will.
That's great. I actually went on a humanitarian project when I was like about 26 years old, and I went to Guatemala, and it was a humanitarian medical one as well. And they did just kind of put the word out that we went with dentists. And so we were just extracting teeth. And there was hundreds and hundreds of people that just walked down from the mountains in droves. And the same thing, they were waiting in line forever. We stayed up till like 2:30, 3 a.m., just helping them. And then finally we'd be like, okay, we've got to, shut down and get a few hours of sleep. And the same thing, they were just like happy and they didn't complain. And they were just so grateful for the help. So, yeah. So did you have something else that you wanted to?
Do you have anything, Milli?
I think one of the coolest stories from our trip, this is like when people ask about the trip, this is always the story I share with them. But at the hospital, one lady came, she heard that, there were doctors, American doctors there performing surgeries. And a lady came and she had been hit by a car and her arm had been run over. And it was like the bone was exposed, the flesh was off, and it had been a month prior to our coming. And they didn't have, the ability to help her. So she was in the hospital, just kind of had her arm wrapped up for a month. And so our doctors were able to help her, but it was, they'd done so many surgeries. It was like midnight. It was super late at night and the power went out. And that's an extremely common occurrence. And so the power went out in the hospital. And so they couldn't continue. And so we kind of, they did what they could. They used their phone flashlights to be able to finish the surgery.
Wow.
But just like the faith that it took for someone to come and, just hope that someone could be able to help her. And then for our doctors to be able to help her. That was a neat experience to hear about.
Now we want to actually go ahead and share a story from one of our recipients who received a toilet in India. Her name is Nazeera. And so we're going to go ahead and just hear about that.
Being pregnant is supposed to be a happy time in a woman's life, but before we had a ZuLoo toilet built next to our home, I felt guilty having my baby. My recent pregnancy was not a straightforward one. I was advised by the doctor to rest as much as possible. I was anemic and there were other complications. The doctor told me to rest as much as possible because too much physical stress might lead to a miscarriage or an early delivery. It was difficult to rest though, because at that time we didn't have a toilet. Earlier in my pregnancy, I tried walking the 2 kilometers to the nearest defecation site, public toilets, but one day, as my belly was becoming heavier, I collapsed before I even reached it. I remember trying so hard to make it, the sweat pouring down my face, my legs taking wide, shaking steps, but I just couldn't. I was so dizzy because of my anemia and I felt like I couldn't breathe, so I began to panic. The next thing I remember opening my eyes, feeling the hard dirt ground beneath me, and seeing up to a group of women huddling around me, trying to give me water and shade me from the sun with their bodies. For a moment, I didn't remember where I was, until the smell of the toilet site nearby reminded me. When I slowly lifted myself and looked down at my lower body, I realized I had urinated after I fainted. When you are pregnant, you need to relieve yourself a lot because the baby is pushing on your bladder. I think part of the reason I fell was because the pressure of holding in my urine was too much for my body. After this, my mother dug a pit nearby our home so that I could answer nature's call quickly. I was reluctant and embarrassed, but my mother told me that embarrassment was a small price to pay for keeping me and the baby alive. Our neighbors didn't understand how difficult my situation was. There is not a lot of sympathy for female medical issues in our community. I cannot describe the mental stress and agony I felt before ZuLoo and their local SAPIT partners helped us build our own toilet. But now, my sadness is gone, my baby is healthy and happy, and I am now free.
Yeah. Wow. So, having been pregnant before a couple times, it is just uncomfortable when you have like,
Right.
a toilet, 15 feet away because the baby pressure on your bladder and just having to go all the time. And that's just like, it just is, again, it's just so humbling, to think what people go through. Where she said in the beginning that she felt like, did she say that she felt shame about having a baby?
She felt guilt.
Guilt. Yeah, she felt guilt about it because it was causing such a stress. And then she was supposed to lay down all the time. And
right.
Yeah. So.
And I also mentioned how there wasn't like a lot of sympathy for women and medical issues like that.
Yeah. And it's horrible how she said that she walked like the 2 kilometers, which is similar to like 2 miles, which is, from my understanding, that's very common. Like you have to walk that far to go to a place and it's not even a nice toilet.
Right.
It's like,
right.
It's like usually, it doesn't smell great. And like she said, she fell down and she didn't even recognize where she was. But then when she came out of it, she realized because of the smell that she had, gone there. So, yeah. So one of the things you'd mentioned before was about a day for girls. So if you guys want to share a little bit about, that experience.
Yeah.
And then also some of the things that you witnessed about how girls are handling that situation.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people know what Days for Girls is, but they make period products or like reusable pads. And then they send them to places where girls don't have access to period products. And so this was kind of a full circle moment that we were able to help with Days for Girls in Ghana, because I remember being, young, maybe 12, and helping make those period products. You just sew the little pads and you package them. But then to be, 17 and get to go to Ghana and deliver these to the girls there. So, we just went to a couple villages nearby in Ghana and delivered those period products.
Yeah. I think lots of shame is put around girls' bodies even in America, but especially in third world countries like that. And so one of the things that one of the leaders that was with us had us do was stand up and be like, I'm thankful for like my head, my body, all of this stuff. And she was basically like teaching a lesson that like we don't sell our body for like period products. We are worth more. We don't sell our body for sex to get period products, because it's very common there for men to promise girls that they'll buy them tampons and pads if they have sex with them. And these girls are, of course, as young as 12, 11. And most parents there don't care how you're getting what you need as long as you're getting it. And we see that girls are skipping school, missing out on school just because of like their period and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when we had this discussion, before coming to the podcast, I literally did go home and I was just like, I was physically like sick for days. I was just like, I cannot believe that this is what young women and women like deal with around the world. Like,
Right.
And it's like a, they all deal with it. We can't control it. It's part of nature. It's like, it's the reason that we're all here, you know, without having a period, like life isn't going to happen, you know? So it's just mind blowing that there's, that this is what happens.
Right.
So, one thing that is kind of a common thing that we do here on the Poodcast is we share, an embarrassing toilet experience. So, I don't know if you guys have one, or if you don't want to share, we can pass.
I think I have one. Do you have one?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Take it away.
There you go. I was in 4th grade, I think.
Okay.
And we went to Hawaii. It was me, my mom, and my older sister.
Mm-hmm.
And my older sister had like dragged us on like this terrible hike. And it was like humid and it's hot and it's straight uphill and it's stairs. And like me already, I'm like a nature hater. I hate like outside. And I hate hiking. And my sister...
I've not heard that before. A nature hater.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm real.
Okay. No.
My sister was like, this is a really easy hike. Like, you guys will love it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we're like on this hike and you're like crawling over like roots and upstairs. It's like straight uphill. And she's like, it's a beautiful waterfall. We ended up like getting to the waterfall. It was a trickle. And it was like gross water that you don't even want to like put your foot in. But like halfway up, I had to go to the bathroom and we're like hiking. There's no porta potties anywhere. Mm-hmm. So my sister was like, okay, you can go behind like a tree. So like my pants are pulled down and she's like holding my hands while I'm leaning back so I don't pee all over myself, but I still did. I made a mess all over myself. So I smell like pee and it's hot and it's humid.
But you did what you had to do.
Right.
Yeah. And we're sharing that story now. So can you think of one or?
I do my best to not be in situations where I could have an embarrassing poo story. I don't know. I like if I was on a hike like that, like I would just tell my body like, we're not doing this. This is not happening.
Wow.
When I was in,
you have that amount of control?
I guess so. I'm very strong-willed. Yeah. In Thailand this summer, the purpose of the trip, we were building a school, and while we were working at the school, they had bathrooms for us, but they were like bidets, and I was like, I never used a bidet before, and I was like, well, I'm not doing it now, so I'll wait till we get to the hotel tonight. Like I don't use the bathroom here, so yeah, I try not to get into those situations.
Right.
Wow. Okay. I actually have one related to my period, which I can't believe I'm telling the story, but I was, and it was more, I was in Taiwan actually. And I was young. I was in my 20s, and I was teaching English. And I did have a pad, but it wasn't working very well. And so I was crossing the street, and there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people, hot, humid, the whole thing, and and it fell out.
Oh, no.
It fell out as I was walking across the street.
Oh no.
And anyway, luckily, like I just like hurried and left, and I don't know that anybody noticed. I didn't know anyone there, and I didn't speak the language well, so I just kind of like quickly got away from that area. But that was that was an experience where I was just like, okay, I really hope that no one saw that. But anyway, so wow. I just told that story. But yeah, so anyway, I just appreciate you guys being here, and we look forward to staying in touch with you and knowing what you're going to end up doing going forward. And we definitely will keep you up to date on what's happening with the ZuLoo Poodcast, Pood News. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you for tuning in today. And please go ahead and like and share and get the Pood News out there through our Poodcast. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the ZuLoo Poodcast. Follow us on social media at our links in the show notes below. To learn more, visit our website, ZuLoo.org. If you liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For even more ZuLoo fun, send us an email with your toilet stories to podcast@zuloo.com for a chance to be featured on the podcast. This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.